Let me tell you how good this shrimp chowder is. The phone rings, my wife answers the phone. She says, hey, chef. She doesn't really call me chef, I'm just saying that because, you know. She says, hey, chef. He says, there's a phone call for you. It's the President of the United States. I said, you know what? I'll call him back after I finish my bowl of shrimp chowder. I'm Chef Dan, and I'm almost vegan. Now, this soup isn't that good. If the president's on the phone, I'm going to answer the phone. A, because it's the thing to do. It's the president of the United States. And B, a little bit of fear. So, but this shrimp chowder is really, really good. Very unusual. The flavor's great. It's kind of like spicy sweet. I love it. I love this shrimp chowder. And shrimp, you'll see very little bit of shrimp in it. The shrimp just gives a nice air of indulgence, a little bit of, this makes the soup a little bit special. Wonderful. Okay, and we start with 2 tablespoons olive oil in a hot pan. Let's saute some onions. You hear that? You have to hear that noise or else you're boiling the onions, you're not sauteing it. And some red pepper. And you hear more of that noise. This smells good already, actually. Okay, we want to cook this until it can get a little color on it, but very light, very golden. I don't want it to be brown. It's going to ruin the color of the whole soup. This is going to be, as you can see, got a lot of red ingredients here, so it's going to be a red colored soup, like Manhattan clam chowder. You have New England, which is white, Manhattan, which is red. This is more towards Manhattan. It's got tomato-based flavors in it. Okay, so we have the onion and the red pepper. It's sauteing. You can see that steam coming up, and that steam is moisture in the vegetables, releasing, so you have a more intense vegetable flavor. That's why we cook the vegetables. That's wafting, baby. That's wafting. Delicious. Okay, so they're not cooked all the way. I just got that sauteed flavor going on. And then we're gonna add some garlic. I used 4 cloves of garlic, and I sliced them very thin. So you have some surface area, which is going to give you a nice garlic flavor, but not a whole lot of surface area. If I were to mince these, it'll be a little garlicky, and I'd use less garlic, maybe 1 or 2 cloves. Here I sliced them, so you have a lot of surface area, but not too much, and they're going to give me a nice garlic sweet flavor. Look at this, sweet onion, sweet red pepper, sweet garlic, okay? You can see what we're going for here? That's sweetness. Just want to toss the garlic in and get the aroma going. You don't want to brown the garlic, otherwise it's going to get bitter. You want the garlic to be sweet. So you give it a little toss, maybe for 30 seconds, that's all. Give it a waft, give it a waft. Woo, that smells delicious. Okay, now we're going to start to build the liquid part of this soup. And we start with some wine. This is a Cabernet Sauvignon. And dry stuff. Dry is good here because everything's sweet so far, right? So you want to throw some dryness into it. And I'm going to throw about 1/2 cup. I throw in 1/2 cup, I drink 1/2 cup. A little bit left, I can't leave that. Woo, that was good. Now we're ready to cook. Okay, you want the wine to reduce. I don't want the wine flavor. I want a reduction of the wine, and you get this great like berry, oak kind of flavor. It's really nice. And so I want the wine to reduce until there's a little moisture left in the pan, but not too much. And there you go. You see it, there's no like, there's some moisture in there, but it's not like a lot. It's not like pools of wine. Just a little moisture on the bottom, just sizzling away. That's what you want. A little bit of wine in there, but you want it really reduced and intensified. Every time you add something like it adds another layer of flavor. It's wonderful. Okay, next we got to add the rest of the liquid ingredients. That is diced tomatoes. I use Hunt's. Good stuff. A little more expensive than the more generic brands, but it has a nice tomato flavor. Okay. Ketchup. Why ketchup? It has the good balance, the sweet, the savory. Ketchup is made with basically tomato, sugar, vinegar, and other stuff. But we're going to use a 1/4 cup of ketchup, and it's going to give us that tomato flavor, yes, and a little bit of sweetness, yes, and a little bit of savoriness like ketchup. Ketchup's one of my favorite condiments to use, honestly. I may be like the only chef who uses ketchup, but I don't care. It's really a good condiment. So is chili sauce. Chili sauce is like ketchup, take away the sugar, and add some spice to it. So it gives a real nice, it gives some character. A little bit of spice, a little bit of heat, and a little richness from the tomatoes, a little bit more intense than ketchup tomato. Also, a 1/4 cup. Oh, come on, there we go. Okay. Worcestershire. Now, this is actually a low sodium Worcestershire, which I like. You find it once in a while in the grocery store. I can't find they do have a vegan Worcestershire. I'm almost vegan. I don't have to, don't sweat it if you can't find vegan Worcestershire. I'm only using a couple of teaspoons. What this will do is give the essence of the fish. There's actually, the reason why that's not vegan is because there's some anchovy in it. So that anchovy will give a little bit of a fish essence, a little bit, and will help the shrimp, okay? Okay, so then here's where you dial up the heat a little bit as what you want, right? So if you like it hot, put more. Like it a little more mild, put less. This is red pepper flakes. I like it. I like to use it for heat. Tabasco is also good. Frank's hot sauce I use a lot. It's also good. This is my go-to because I just happen to like the flavor. And I'm going to use about a 1/4 teaspoon. I don't want it hot. I just want to taste the chili. So a 1/4 teaspoon is good. If you like it hot, use a 1/2 teaspoon. If you like it really hot, use a teaspoon. If you like it sizzling hot, tablespoon. So there you go. And then to finish off the liquid part, this is vegetable broth. Now we have to thicken this. How are we going to thicken this? Well, this is the beautiful part of this soup. Like all chowders, they should have a potato in it. Like all chowders, they should have a seafood or fish in it. And then the question is, what about corn chowder? That's not real chowder. Okay, sometimes you'll see something called a chowder because in a restaurant they can charge an extra $1 a cup. The corn soup, $4.95 a bowl. Corn chowder, $8.95 a bowl. Same soup, different name. So this is what happens when you see something in a restaurant. You're so like really impressed by the menu because you read it and it just reads so nicely. That's like an art form. Making a menu is like an art form to call something a chowder. It's really a soup. Chowder is fish and seafood and potatoes. Fish or seafood and potatoes. That's it in a chowder. Could be white, could be red, Manhattan, New England, whatever. But chowders, that's what chowder is. When you make a corn chowder, that's not really a chowder. That's corn soup. They call it a chowder so they can charge extra money for it. Now you know, okay? All right, so anyway, potatoes I used, they're good potatoes. These are white. I like them because the skins are thin, and I can use the skins in the soup. The nutrition of a potato is mostly found just under the skin. Not all of it, but mostly found just under the skin. So when you peel the skin, you peel away some of the nutrition. And I want the nutrition. I'm almost vegan means I gotta get nutrition. That, you know, just using the word vegan means more nutritious. So I want to use the skin. These are good to use. You can use the red bliss, the red potatoes, same thing. This is the same thing, but it's white. I like the white color better. I don't like the red color in this. It turns like a pinkish color. It just throws me off. So I like this color better. And I want to cut this, dice it about good half-inch dice. Okay, it doesn't have to be exact. I want it big enough to like, you can see it. I don't want it to break down and be like mashed potato, but I also want it to fit on a spoon. So it needs to be small enough to fit on a spoon when you eat it, so you eat it more comfortably. And at the same time, I also want it to be big enough so it doesn't just break down and then you have mashed potato in the soup. Okay, here we have all the potatoes, and that was about a pound of potatoes. So we throw it right in the soup, like that. And the soup is really smelling good. Okay, so potatoes are in. I'm gonna let this simmer for about a half hour. Come back. Potatoes should be cooked beautifully, and we get to the shrimp. It's only been about 20 minutes, but I have to check it. Potatoes were cut a little small. This particular pan gets a little hotter than regular pan. The heat's not easily regulated, so that's what you have to do. Like I tell you, 30 minutes, simmer gently, 30 minutes, but always check it a few minutes beforehand just to make sure. Check this out. Check. You ready? You ready? Ooh. Very nice. Nice flavor. The aroma in here is just terrific. Fantastic. Okay, so that's good. This looks like it got a little thicker. That's nice. The broth it got thicker, but the broth is still a little brothy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to thicken it. And what I'm going to thicken it with is just a little bit of tomato paste. Maybe a teaspoon of tomato paste. You don't want too much. And after you put the tomato paste in, okay, teaspoon of tomato paste. Notice the paste I use. It's in a tube with a cover that fits most of the time. There we go. Very easy. Goes right in the refrigerator. I don't like the tin cans. The tomato paste is not as good a quality in those cans. This brand is Cento, C-E-N-T-O. This is good as any tomato paste that comes in a tube. Very good stuff. A lot of tomato flavor. And this little bit of tomato paste, just a teaspoon. That's all you need. It's going to thicken this right up. And you want to let this sit for about 5 minutes. There you go. Let it sit for about 5 minutes. While it's sitting, we have to finish this soup up. You want to give it a little brightness, a little acid. You always see on TV, these chefs will go, you know, they're critiquing something, they say, it needs a hit of acid, a little bit of acid, brighten it right up. Very good. That's your acid for this soup, a little lime juice. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use half a lime. See, roll it on the table. Breaks up the membranes inside, and then it's easier to get that juice out. Now, if you squeeze this lime and you see, you know what, not a whole lot of juice coming out of it, then use a whole lime. It's kind of up to you. Or if you like it with a little more tanginess, use a whole lime, okay? What I usually do is squeeze it into a cup, only because I want to just make sure no seeds get in it. And what I do is I stick a fork in it and then move that fork around as I squeeze it. It breaks up those membranes and gets all the juice out. You can see all the juice coming out of there. And this is going to give me a good 2 to 3 tablespoons of juice. A lot of juice. And in the end, okay, nothing in there. It's all juiced out. Beautiful. The absolute last thing, I promise, this is actually next to last thing. You know, the last thing is going to be the shrimp. But the next to last thing is going to be some thyme. Thyme, for me, is a classic ingredient in chowders. Every chowder I do, I finish with some thyme. And I finish it with some fresh thyme. If you're using dry thyme, it goes in the very beginning. When you add your liquid, you add your dry thyme. If you're using fresh, then you add it at the end. And I'll take about 1, 2, 3, 4, like 5 branches of thyme. And you see the thyme kind of grows up like that. Well, you strip it the opposite way it grows. So if it's growing up like that, you take your fingers and move it down like that, right on the board. Okay? Move it down. If you strip it the opposite way that it grows, it's going to come right off the stem. And you have about a teaspoon of thyme, fresh thyme. And then you give it a chop. You don't have to chop it real fine. These are already small leaves. But you want to give it a nice chop so it will... you won't have that like whole leaf in your mouth. It's going to be a very strong thyme flavor if you do that. Okay, this soup is done. Almost. I have my soup bowl. I have this really flavorful soup. There we go, but it's not done yet. While I was simmering the soup, I threw a couple of shrimp in my air fryer. 2 minutes in the air fryer gives you beautiful shrimp. And that's all I need. A couple of shrimp on top, and you got shrimp chowder. Okay? Really nice, really rich. The flavor is very interesting. It's spicy and sweet. It's spicy, but not too spicy. Give a nice, it's like a nice warm spice. The tomato is front and center. There's a lot of kinds of tomato. Tomato and chili sauce, tomato and the ketchup, tomato and the diced tomato. A lot of tomato, so that's really front and center. And then behind that is a lot of different sweetnesses. Sweetness from the onion, from the red pepper, a little from the ketchup, a little from the chili sauce. And really a nice balance because the tomato's a little acidic, plus the lime juice, getting that hit of lime juice in there, and the sweetness, really nice. And then right at the end, you get a hint of that fresh thyme, the little herbiness. It's really nice. And everything's very balanced with the lime juice, because you have that sweet, and the lime juice gives you that tartness, that acidic character, and brings it together really nice. The shrimp, of course, is wonderful, but that's kind of just like, I love shrimp. Shrimp cooked perfectly, succulent, beautiful. And this shrimp is really good. So, cooked perfectly, seasoned nice. And, tender, good. And the shrimp itself is like rich. So the acidity from the tomato and the lime and the heat works with that shrimp beautifully. This is a great soup. Eats like a meal. Wonderful. Chock full of potatoes. The potatoes in there kind of makes it like a meal. And you can eat it as a meal. Eat it as a soup. Eat it as a light lunch. Even as a light dinner. Wonderful. If you like this recipe, click like. Very unusual chowder, but has all the essence of a chowder, the seafood, the potato. Wonderful. So hit like if you like the recipe, and definitely subscribe to the channel. I look forward to seeing you at the next video. I'm not going to tell you what it's going to be. You'll be surprised, but it's going to be great. It's going to be tasty. I'm Chef Dan. I'm almost vegan. I'm going to finish this cup of soup and maybe have another one. I got to answer the phone. Could be the president. You never know.